What is going on, everybody? Zach RC here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome along to episode number 12 of the F1 Ultimate Career Series for the British Grand Prix. If you guys did miss the last episode, make sure to go check that one out before you see this one to get yourself all caught up. And of course, make sure to get subscribed for more future F1 content as the series continues. So of course, the British Grand Prix, crucial race today, round 9 of the championship, my home race no less. So of course, it's crucial we do well on this one. But we have got another task to deal with first. We've got to renew our contract for the remainder of the season. So plans here to re-sign with AlphaTauri. I did consider briefly perhaps going to Team Around us, try and spice things up, but we'll carry out the season with AlphaTauri, provided that we can, of course, get a decent deal out of them here. Now, I did want to perhaps think of a higher risk, because I think we've done all right the first half of the season, but obviously you actually want to keep our spot within the team. You don't have to want to be forced to go and look elsewhere. So we'll go for a medium risk offer then. Of course, the leftover money from that will go towards our perk fund for the remainder of the season. We put that into one more perk, and that will last us up to the end of the campaign. But our demand was accepted, so we've successfully negotiated a seat with AlphaTauri for the next 8 race weekends, and that'll take us up to Abu Dhabi. We've got 200,000 now to play around with, overall 250 for the perk fund. So we'll put that towards either power mapping or media coaching. We'll put it towards power mapping because I feel like engine wear is going to be a problem towards the late stage of the season. Of course, we may have to take a grip penalty or two towards the end of the campaign, but obviously our development feedback one is there as well. And in terms of R&D, now normally that's the first thing we do, but we've got a few more to use. So of course last time we failed that powertrain upgrade, so we'll go back and make sure that goes through nice and easy. And we've got enough to go for one more. We'll go for this aero upgrade here. I've only done one upgrade on the aero so far, so we'll make improvements in that department down there. And that'll do us from there. So we've got 2 powertrain upgrades, 1 chassis and 1 aero coming in. And McLaren and Haas still close around us. Renault not far behind either. Alfa Romeo close too. Williams are sort of down at the bottom by themselves. The halfway stage, there's our results so far this season. There's a brief look at those. It's been majority points finishes so far, so I'm quite satisfied with how the season has gone thus far. But of course, plenty of time still for things to come. 8 races, and of course we are pushing perhaps for a Red Bull seat for the higher ups there to keep notice of us over the course of the campaign. But here we go now, up towards the race weekend, and all our upgrades came through without any issue. But we've actually been jumped by Renault, and Alfa Romeo have jumped Haas, so we've gone back to more or less where we were to start with. So it's all still close together. McLaren have pulled away a little bit. We're all on the same level, Renault, AlphaTauri, and Alfa Romeo. So it's all close, but not to mention Haas as well. And in terms of power unit, the last thing we'll do before we move on to the race weekend, of course, there are a few parts that come under fire in the late stages in Austria. So we'll make changes to the MGU-H and the ICE and the turbocharger. I think those are the ones that we really need to look into. Of course, only got one of each left. So in terms of how long we make those last, I think we'll probably take grip penalties for all of them at some point. So we can try and take them all in one go. That'll be the best thing to do. But we'll focus on that later. And now it's time to go to Silverstone for our first home race of the series. So here we go then, time for qualifying for the British Grand Prix. Of course, the birthplace of Formula 1 here at Silverstone, and of course the first ever Grand Prix to be held. Of course, the actual 2020 edition of this race, they held 2 races, as did Austria in 2020, one of which being the 70th anniversary Grand Prix. The race was won by Hamilton and Verstappen respectively. Of course, those of you who were around watching F1 at the time will remember Hamilton blowing a tyre on the final lap and Verstappen hunting him all the way to the checkered flag, but Hamilton held on, famously won the race on 3 wheels, so we'll see if we get anything as dramatic in today's episode. But out of the pits now, and getting ready for our first flying lap. I feel like for me, Silverstone's always been quite car dependent. If I have a decent car, I'm going to have a strong race. If we don't have a decent car, it's going to be quite a poor race. But honestly, in this AlphaTauri or a midfield outfit here, and it could go either way, one thing I've noticed is the energy store, I didn't realise how high up that was, so perhaps we'll change that next episode. We are lacking a bit on the air aspect. Jumping on to our first flying lap now and charging down towards the first corner. Quite a short run to turn 1 Abbey, and then immediately going into turn 2. It's quite a fast start to the lap here at Silverstone, but of course the first major braking point is down here at turn number 3. And almost immediately on corner exit you're met with turn 4, so back over to the right and sweeping in to the left. Can hit the apex on corner exit now, charging towards the Wellington Straight. Of course, first DRS zone on the circuit, and where the majority of overtakes will be made going towards turn number 6, the end of the first sector. We'll see here what our first split is. We come towards the line now. 27.2 our first sector. Not a fantastic start, but of course most likely we put this down as a banker lap, and obviously if we can make improvements later on in the lap and in the rest of qualifying, we'll do just that. Try and get a higher place on the grid, but overall that first sector not too brilliant. But as we come down towards the end of the first lap then, and going in towards the final chicane at turns 16 and 17. Norris first time on the board, 125.9, and I feel like we're going quite a few seconds back from Norris to be one of those qualifying sessions. Into turn 18 and back down the Hamilton Straight. It's a 127.8, so we're almost 2 seconds off the pace of the McLaren, which the car meant to be chasing R&D wise. So not a great start at all. We'll go for another lap here, and we are improving by a few tenths, but it's really not enough. We're P9, and both Alfa Romeos in front of us at the moment. Raikkonen and Giovinazzi setting faster times than us, improving by half a second in the end, but not really enough to move us to make any more places. So we'll accelerate time and go on for a second run here. But in terms of almost everyone setting their times, we sit P19. And once again, as it was recently, only Latifi is slower than us in a minute. So I'm getting Canada flashbacks. But onto another set of soft tyres and going for one last lap here. I did go for a fourth lap, but we abandoned it midway through. But our third lap, much more improved from here. 6/10 up, losing a bit of time towards turn 18, going way wide at the final corner. 1:26.8 puts us at P14. But in terms of whether we lose any places, we'll have to wait and see in the final results of qualifying.
Finished, it's time to remind ourselves of our top three: Hamilton, Bottas and Max Verstappen. Well, that wraps up qualifying, but don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow as we head into the Grand Prix.
So it's Hamilton on pole then, but Bottas second and Verstappen third. Mercedes lock out the front row. We qualified P17 in the end, one of our poorer qualifying performances this season. But of course, if there's ever a good place to be making up places and scoring some points in the end, it'd be a home Grand Prix. So let's jump now into round number 9 of the championship, the British Grand Prix. Let's do this.
Good day today. Let's have your take on it. Who would you say is your biggest rival at the moment?
So what I did forget to say, I forgot to look at this at the start of the episode, but we did actually end up beating Esteban Ocon in our rivalry, our last time out in Austria. So now we've got to pick a new rival. We've got a few options here. Ocon again is an option. Ricardo, Norris and Sainz are all about. Now, I want to go for those two McLarens. I want to try and take on someone slightly faster than us. And of the two of them, we've fought Sainz a lot more. So in terms of our second rival, I'm going to go with Carlos Sainz and see if we can beat him as we did Ocon.
Great. Well, that's everything.
Okay, now we can get into the race.
We return once again then to the home of British motorsport and the birthplace of the Formula One World Championship. It's race day here at Silverstone and it's time for the British Grand Prix. With good opportunities to overtake at the end of the Wellington and Hangar Straights, there's a lot of potential for close action around the 3.6 miles of the Silverstone circuit. With 18 corners and average lap speeds of around 145 miles per hour, it's also one of the longest and quickest circuits on the calendar. Anthony Davidson is alongside me as usual for the race today. Now, can I talk to you about Sebastian Vettel? Looks like they've got a tough race in store today as grid penalties from changing power unit components has forced them further down the field.
But on the bright side, at least those fresh components can help them maintain the power they need to come through the pack. I expect to see them take a more aggressive approach today to make up for the compromised start.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Perez, Alexander Albon, and Ricciardo, Norris, Stroll, Sainz, and Charles Leclerc, Grosjean, Magnussen, Esteban Ocon, and Vettel, Raikkonen, Cohen, George Russell, and Antonio Giovinazzi. Latifi and Pierre Gasly picks up the final grid slot today. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Okay, I know it's your home Grand Prix, but treat it like any other race. Don't take unnecessary risks.
Here we go then, no more talking, time for action. Time to lay it all out on the line on our first ever home Grand Prix here at Silverstone. Made up a place or two on the grid thanks to grid penalties once again being in our favour. 26 laps, and of course in terms of tyre strategy, I'm getting more and more used to having that one set of soft tyres to play around with. So we'll go a default strategy here. It was 11 laps on the soft and then the final 15 on the medium tyres. But here we go now, on the grid, 5 red lights for round number 9 of the championship. The British Grand Prix here at Silverstone. Lights out, forward to the floor. We are underway. The charge down towards turn begins. A lot of wheel speed on the start, so a poor getaway. 3 wide already going towards that first corner. Latifi to our outside. Giovinazzi inside. Close to contact with the cars in front. We're going to outbrake the Canadian. Going through turn 1 and through turn 2. I've got a warning for a collision. I don't see remember colliding with him. But down the inside, several cars here. On the inside of Kevin Magnussen for turn 3. Passing Ocon, passing Vettel, passing Raikkonen as well. So number of places up to P12 here around the outside of the Dane. turns 4 and 5. And up into P12. So a good getaway then. In the end, up a few spots. And now in between the two Haas cars. And there's our rival Carlos Sainz there in P10. Last of the point scoring places. Further on into the lap. Out of Magnussen Beckett. and charging down the hanger straight for the first time. Romain Grosjean, our next target in the Haas, closing in and going to pull to the outside of the racetrack, going towards Stowe for the first time. That long sweeping right-hander, that is turn 15, around the outside of the Frenchman and up another place, up into P11 now, taking that place away, and now one spot off the points after the first lap, but Sainz there in front, Leclerc and Norris ahead of him. But up front, it's Valtteri Bottas who got a better start over Lewis Hamilton, and as a result leads the way. Then Hamilton second, and Verstappen fighting Sergio Perez for third place. On to lap 2 now, and working on reeling in Carlos Sainz for that last spot in the points. Romain Grosjean about half a second behind us in the minutes, no concern. And they've got a warning on the MFD, and that's a red light on the rear wing, and that could be a problem. Is it open or shut? It's shut! Okay, I know what this means. We got a DRS fault here. The DRS flag will not open while that light is on our screen. I suppose it's worse than having it stuck open for a circuit such as this, but with such high-speed corners. But a big problem here, and that could be crucial to us. We're already falling away from Sainz as it is, and with no DRS, even if we are within a second of him, we won't have much luck. On to lap 4 then. Sainz just out the window for DRS, but Grosjean right behind us. And look at the tyre temperatures on the left-hand side there. We're struggling massively with keeping these things under control. There goes Grosjean to the inside, looking for P11, going in towards turn 6. He's going to jump in front of us. Oh, over the curbs there. A slight bit of contact. We'll get back around him, but lucky to avoid taking any damage. He's still on our outside through turn 7, through Luffield, and on corner exit going towards Woodcote, turn 8. We're pulling in front of the Frenchman for the minute, but in that losing a lot more time to Sainz. On to lap 5, then Sainz and Norris fought each other a bit, going through Magnussen and Beckett and through that third sector as a whole. And as a result, we've closed them back in again, and fortunately, the DRS fault has been fixed. It only lasts for a few laps or so, which is definitely good. But look at those look at the soft tyres now, 109 degrees on the front left. That's a massive concern. We've got DRS back, but really struggling for grip and losing tyre wear fast. And to add more to our problem, Sebastian Vettel sitting right there behind us. Of course, Vettel had one of those grip penalties, so started further back. We managed to get around him in the opening encounters on lap 1, but he's still right behind us. And when you're dealing with tyres such as these, the last thing you want is a 4-time champion in a Ferrari chasing you down. But we'll keep him behind as best we can for the time being, as push towards Copse. Once again, Norris now our next target. Never mind Sainz, those two fighting, but Sainz getting the upper hand on that occasion and going through Magnussen and Beckett once again here. Just a few corners later, going towards the start of the third and final sector, going off into the grass there. Vettel taking full advantage, going dancing around us on the right hand side, up into P11 once again, and move down to P12, and Grosjean and Ocon once again our targets behind to try and avoid. Of course, Ocon no longer our rival, but I wish he was now because he's behind us, and Sainz is in front. Bit of a slide there on lap 7 as we go through turn 4 and towards 5 and towards the Wellington straight once again. Grosjean looking around, sensing blood in the water, looking for a chance to try and take a place away from us here. I can't stand these soft tyres, but I can't get off them just yet. We can't go long enough on a set mediums or set hards to get to the end of the Grand Prix comfortably. Grosjean on our inside, they're going through turn 6 and now towards 7 again. Again, we're going side by side through here, and again, we'll get the better corner exit and jump back onto P12, holding our place, and Ocon putting alongside, so might try and pull in front of the Frenchman. But look at that, Vettel 3 seconds to the good already, and chasing Lando Norris and Carlos Sainz in the 2 McLarens, and down the hanger straight now. Ocon closing us too. Might get close enough to go for a move here as we get towards Stowe for the 7th time, and into the corner though, no real risk. We're going way wide there, practically sailing off the racing line. Ocon takes his chance on the outside, going towards turn 16, and he's side by side with the Frenchman. Got the inside line going in to 16, but for 17 he's got the inside. We'll try and get around him. Oh, Ocon gets in front of a slight bit of contact there, losing control, and Grosjean trying the inside at such a corner. Go bullet around the outside of him, running wide as a result. Really should have got a warning there, but once again holding on to P13. I'm surprised they didn't mark us for a legal overtake, but we'll hold on to our place for now. Ocon taking P12 away, but on to lap number 10. We're going to call it our strategy a lap earlier and go on to a set of mediums to get to the end of the race from there, because honestly I can't be on these softs any longer. It's killing our race and we're falling away from the cars in front of us. Coming in now for our first and only stop of this race onto the medium tyres. Of course, it could be a bit of trouble towards the end if we don't manage them well enough. Of course, have to deal with slightly more worn tyres than everyone else towards the end of the Grand Prix, but there's quite a few cars with the same idea, so I suppose the strategy isn't too bad. We're only a lap in between. But on to lap 11 then, our pit window does open, so we are technically inside it. And going now towards our pit box near a good stop from AlphaTauri to get us out in front of Romain Grosjean, coming right behind us. 2.7 second stop, and we are away from our pit box and back towards the racetrack again. Ricciardo there in front of us, he came onto the medium. Sainz pitted, Vettel pitted, so Vettel's mapped some places here. Ricciardo, not sure what's going on with Renault, but he was up in the lead pack. I'm not sure if he's got a problem or what, like it was last race in Austria. But Grosjean right behind us will re-emerge in P19. Of course, one of the first few cars to come into pit lane, and of course one of the cars in the back of that pack, avoiding going over the white line as we did in qualifying, so no warning for that fortunately. And on to lap number 12 near in the halfway stage. A few more cars into the pit lane will put us up a few more places back up into P16, but right now it's still Ricciardo about 2.3 in front of us, and Ocon's managed to get around him, so Ricciardo's definitely had some kind of problem. He's been held in the pit lane in some way, not quite sure, but the Honey Badger now down with us outside of the points. And onto lap 13, getting a few more places to get us back to more or less where we were in front of our teammate Pierre Gasly, so back into P13, and Ricciardo still hunting Ocon. We are closing a little bit on the Australian, but not enough to get anyone near to remove In fact, Gasly's closing on us quite quickly on lap 15 and going towards Stowe once again. He's getting quite close to our gearboxes to go through the right-hander, and again, still same sort of thing on these medium tyres. The hot conditions not helping our case at all here, and the tyres are burning up. There goes Gasly on the outside for turn number 16. Again, we'll do the same thing, this time get in front of Gasly as opposed to what we did on Ocon, and we'll maintain P13 for now, shut Gasly off and keep our place. And pushing on to lap 16 now, he's still there, he's close enough. If we make a mistake going through the first sector or so, he could still come at us for DRS, and Raikkonen not too far behind either. And look how much time we've lost to Ricciardo in doing that. We are now 4 seconds back from the Renaults, so really struggling. Another big slide there, yellow flag behind us. That wasn't for me sliding, was it? Surely not. Side by side with Gasly, it's definitely someone else behind us. If it's going to be a safety car, it wouldn't be in front of Gasly, so we'll get back in front. Yellow flag's flying again. Magnussen's out of the session, and there it is. A bit later than usual, but a safety car has been deployed. 1 DNF going courtesy of Kevin Magnussen. And that, with 10 laps to go, was the lifeline we needed to get caught back up to everyone else in the field. So what's happened to Magnussen here? Going towards turn 1, we haven't really dealt with him since the first lap or so. Everything all going along nice and fine for the Dane there, but then cut to the next camera, there's smoke pouring from that Haas. So from the second time in 4 races, Haas leading with a mechanical failure. It was Grosjean in Monaco, it's now Magnussen here at Silverstone. So he is out, down to 19 cars in this race, and back up behind Ricciardo now. On to lap 18, there'll be 8 laps to go on this race restart. Up front is still the 2 Mercedes cars. I believe Hamilton now leads Bottas. Ocon is there in front, and Norris holding the last points paying place. Can we do anything, despite the tyres being as difficult as they have been today? Down to some poor management, I feel. But can we salvage perhaps a point from this Grand Prix at best? And can we at all have any chance of beating our rival Carlos Sainz, who I believe is up there in P8 at the minute? Going on now towards the restart, but our first target will be chasing these 2 Renaults, get around them as fast as we can, and then looking on to try and score some points off of Norris. We're going through turn 16 and 17, the green flag coming back out, getting back underway again for the second race in a row, and a bit of a problem going off the last corners, and as a result losing a lot of time. But the second Grand Prix in succession, it was probably in Austria, going off of turn 10 and going off of turn 18 at Silverstone. It's the exact same thing. And going deep there at turn 1 as well, it's not helping our case at all to get back on the way here on lap number 19, still P13, but crucially, we are up close to everyone. We've got a bit of battery and we saved some fuel under the restart, but I don't think it's doing much good at the minute. Look how much pace they've got compared to us. We are really falling away already, down to 7 tenths behind Ricciardo and Gasly. If anything, it will be more of a concern if he hunts us down for position. On to lap 22 though, Ricciardo's got around Ocon, and now Ocon's our target, and we are right close to him. Bit of contact there, running into the back of the Renault. We have to be more careful doing things like that, quite dangerous. To be honest, but going down DRS once again, looking for an audacious dive towards the corner, towards turn 6. I feel like that'll be the only chance for us to really have a go at making a move down the inside and quite a way back there, avoiding contact over the curb ever so slightly, and up now up another place into P12, and now looking to hunt down Ricciardo for any more places. But I think at this stage it could be too late. Have we got anything left to try and get back in this train? The top 10 are pulling away now, so even if we can get around Ricciardo, we can't score any points short for late retirement. On to lap 23, sliding a bit there through the right-hander, and Gasly and Raikkonen now our main concerns behind us. There's Ricciardo pulling away. Ocon has been passed by both the Frenchman and the Finn. Gasly tries the outside going towards Copse, side by side with our teammate. We'll force him out and maintain our placing. And that's the only thing we've got left to do in this race. Raikkonen and Gasly side by side. They fight each other up at the end of the matter for us, and that was all the fighting we really had left in this Grand Prix. So here comes Hamilton then up front. No challenge from Valtteri Bottas in that final restart. He's being challenged by Verstappen though going into the last few corners, as Hamilton though rounds turn 16 and 17 and through turn 18 back onto what will be the quarter Hamilton straight and winning the British Grand Prix. Another fantastic home victory. It'll be Verstappen who narrowly beats Bottas for second. Bottas comes third, Leclerc fourth, and for us though, P12 in the end, provided that Gasly doesn't get this one last challenge in around the outside going towards the last chicane. We're going to hold him off narrowly and take P12 away from this Grand Prix. Checker flag is waiting for us, and it cannot come soon enough. Our first home Grand Prix draws to a close. Honestly, slightly disappointed. Of course, the DRS fault, I think, had us doomed from the start. The tyres were not there for us today. Couldn't manage them properly in the conditions. Vettel gets driver of the day. He came through the field to take a fantastic finish in the points in the end. But he couldn't beat Leclerc. But Hamilton wins it then, and not our day to win here at home.
So Mercedes have won it, and what a great race it was. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
It was a question of right place, right time today. We were looking at an entirely different race before the safety car came out, but they were able to take full advantage after the field had been bunched up.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it.
So Hamilton wins it then from Verstappen narrowly over Bottas in P3, so the home crowd can still be satisfied with the winner today. Hopefully at some point in this series it'll be us on the top step of the podium here at Silverstone, but not to be today, definitely not today, and not even points in our case. But let's have a look now at the final results from this Grand Prix and have a look at how this result changes the race for the World Championship between these three drivers.
Let's have a quick look at how the drivers' standings have changed. Well, the gap at the top of the championship has been cut down after a difficult race today for our championship leader. Let's focus on the driver of the day, Anthony Davidson. Who do you pick?
I have to say Sebastian Vettel certainly caught my eye during today's race. Incredible driving.
Let's move on to the constructors. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. There was also a strong showing from the McLaren team today as they make their way up the standings. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
So Leclerc crosses the line in 4th, then Vettel 5th, Albon 6th. It's Sainz 7th in the end, so poor start to our rivalry. Perez falls back to 8th, Stroll takes 9th, and Lando Norris snaps the final point over Ricciardo, myself, Gasly, and then Raikkonen. So have a look then at the Drivers' Championship, how that changes. We go down a place to P9, Sainz gets the jump on us, Vettel jumping Stroll. So only a few points in it though. We're still as high as taking perhaps even a P6 should we perform well in our next race in Hungary. Verstappen still leading the championship over Bottas, but that gap's shrinking a little bit to Hamilton. And the constructors, Mercedes still lead dominantly. McLaren jump ahead a bit more. A Racing Point breathing down the next. Renault dropping back to 7th, but all close together. So like the Drivers' Championship, it is all still to play for. But guys, that'll do it for this episode of the F1 Ultimate Career Series. I do hope you did enjoy it. If you did, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more future F1 content. Have an absolutely fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.